So we'll have a look at, in the back of your books, I'll show you the one-on-one sheet. And you'll see it, it's the last sheet in your book. This is something that I will print out. As I said, each assistant gets their own file. And they'll have all of the documents that they signed when they first came on board. They'll also have a series of one-on-ones in there, and we can just walk through it. It's pretty straightforward, I think. The date, who's attending, and when the last meeting was. Then I start off with, this is a real key one, I like this one. You always ask them the same question. It doesn't matter what question it is, but you open with the same question every time. How are you? Or something like that. It can be your own spin on it, but effectively what you want to do is have a question that's like your baseline, and you ask them on a regular basis, how are you? Good, 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 average. Bing, I know something's up. Because every time, looking through my past one-on-ones, I'm always good, 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 average. Things aren't going so well. That for me is a red flag. And then I can try and find out, well, what's going on? How can I help? How can I help the situation? So you always start with a question that's the same question every time. Then I move into, obviously they've got their first 10 minutes where they'll talk about whatever they want to talk about, and then I'll just make any notes. If you remember, the important things about a one-on-one is that it's all about asking questions, listening effectively, and then taking notes. It's very easy with a virtual assistant to take notes because obviously they're on Skype and they can't necessarily see you taking notes. But even with the one-on-ones in the office, and Ben and Ryan know, I'll sit there and I'll scribble down notes. And that's just my way of remembering. If I try and remember everything, I just don't remember it. So I use the documentation. So one-on-ones are all about writing effective notes. And then I'll ask them what is it that they've been working on over the past few weeks. And I'll get them to bullet point everything that they've been working on, what things come to mind. And then we talk about what do you like, what do you not like. And then they'll tell you about tasks. So Ryan had been doing a task a little while ago where he's watching all of our past workshops, and he will find the gold, the little nuggets in our workshops. He's creating a time code where we'll go, a nugget starts here, a nugget ends here. Then we pass that off to our video assistant, and then he cuts those out, and then they end up going onto YouTube and then end up being promotional pieces. So in our last one-on-one, Ryan had said, look, I'm not enjoying that as much anymore. So now what are we doing? We're in the process of assigning it over to Grace, because it'll be new for her, and she'll still, I think with any job, there is always going to be something that you don't enjoy, and you do need to help them to understand there may be tasks and roles in their job that they're not necessarily going to enjoy if it's part of their core job. But I also want to make sure that they enjoy coming to work. If they're doing a repetitive task that they're not enjoying, then I'm happy to put systems in place. And I'm all about systems, as you might start to get the idea, where I want my guys to think in terms of, if I could get this outsourced for less, then Dave's given me the approval to go ahead, create a system, and then go get someone to outsource and do it. So I encourage my guys, they do the task a few times, they learn it, they document it. If you imagine that learning procedure that I was talking about, or that teaching procedure, the final step is teaching someone else. And that's what we're doing at that point. Then it gets passed on to someone else, unless it's part of their core competencies. Then we'll also ask them, are there any other projects that they'd like to be working on? And this is, I'll talk about team meetings a little bit later, but we have regular team meetings where people get a chance to give their, talk about what it is that they're working on, so they know what everybody else is working on. And I'll also have an opportunity to say what I'm working on, so they know what the business is doing. And then they might think, oh, I want to be more involved in this particular industry blog type side project that we're doing. Or maybe I want to be involved in the SEO component or my trading part of my business. And then they can let me know where they'd like to work. What skills would you like to develop as well? And that's that idea of the last few minutes of the one-on-one. And questions and feedback, usually I'll put any bullet points if there's anything that I feel like I need to cover and I need to tell them. With feedback, you need to give it early and often. It's one of those rules where you need to make sure best to just keep on giving really good feedback, and I'll give you a model for the way that you give appropriate feedback, because I think a lot of people give feedback and then it gets taken the wrong way.